The Senate will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senators Baisley, Bridges, thank you. Buckner, Coleman, Cutter, Danielson,
Excused.
Exum, Fields, Gardner,
Excused.
Janal, Gonzalez, Senator Gonzalez,
Excused.
Hanson, Henriksen, Jaquez Lewis, Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Liston, Lundin, Marchman, Senator Marchman, Michelson Janae, Mullica, Pelton B, Pelton R, Priola, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Smallwood, Sullivan, Van Winkle, Will, Winter, Zenzinger, Senator Gonzalez. Mr. President.
Here. The morning roll call is 32 present, 0 absent, 3 excused. We do have a quorum. Will the clerk now please add Senator Gonzalez to the roll? Senator Cutter, would you please lead us in the pledge of our great nation?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Rich.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate Journal of March 28th, 2024 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Senate Services.
April 1st, 2024, correctly printed, Senate Bill 190, correctly engrossed, Senate Joint Resolution 11, Senate Resolution 4, correctly revised, House Bill 1039, correctly re-revised, House Bills 1225 and 1248, House Concurrent Resolution 1002.
Committee reports.
March 28, 2024, Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 159 be postponed indefinitely. Committee on Health and Human Services. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 163 be postponed indefinitely. Senate Bill 175 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 167 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1256 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation it be placed on the consent calendar. House Bill 1017 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. The committee has had under consideration, has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar. Confirmed members of the Solid and Hazardous Waste Commission for terms expiring August 1, 2026. James Spancer of Dillon, Colorado to serve as a representative of a regulated community appointed. And Mark Keys of Severance, Colorado to serve as a representative of a regulated community reappointed. Members of the Prescription Drug Affordability Review Board for terms expiring September 27, 2026. Catherine Harsbarger of Holyoke, Colorado reappointed. Amaryllis Amy Gutierrez, PharmD of Aurora, Colorado reappointed.
Message from the House.
March 28, 2024, the House has passed on third reading and transmitted to the revised statutes House Bills 1148 and 1354, amended as printed in House Journal March 26, 2024. April 1st, 2024, the House has voted to concur. The House has voted to adhere to its position on Senate Bill 35. The bill is returned herewith. The House has voted to concur in the Senate amendments to House Bills 1007, 1056, 1072, and 1098, and has repassed the bills as so amended.
Message from the Reviser.
March 28, 2024, we herewith transmit without comment as amended House Bills 1148 and 1354.
Committee reports.
March 28, 2024, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 153 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 129 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 158 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we proceed out of order to take up a moment of personal privilege.
The motion is for the Senate to proceed out of order for moments of personal privilege. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will now proceed out of order. Senator Fields.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues. I would like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Members, before I get started, I would like to invite all of my colleagues who have already agreed to be a part of this resolution to acknowledge April as being Child Abuse Prevention Week. This tribute is all about building hope together. So what I've asked my colleagues to do, all of us, is to take an opportunity to read a statement or two, because it's not just about my resolution. It's about the resolution that deals with all the children in the state of Colorado who find themselves in situations that require our support and our assistance. And the people that you see standing with me and those who are not understand the value of the investment that we need to make in children. So we're just taking this time and this opportunity right now to acknowledge all the advocates and all the leaders who invest in protecting the most vulnerable people in our community. That's our children. That's a 6-month-old. That's a 2-year-old. It could be a foster care child. It could be any child that finds themselves in a home where there's too much depression or too much self-destruction. So I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, and she will read the first part, and then we'll pass it on from that point.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Members, each of the more than 1.2 million children in Colorado today deserve to be valued. They deserve to be healthy and thriving. Children are our future employees, our future leaders, our future neighbors, and will shape the future of Colorado. Childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted. Granted.
Thank you. Is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community. We all have a role in ensuring that children have positive experiences and that families have the resources they need when they need them.
Senator Michelson-Schnee.
May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Illuminate Colorado, the Kemp Center, the Kemp Foundation, Family Resource Center Association, and Raise the Future, and the many other organizations participating in that campaign.
Members, you can consider the moment of personal privilege granted.
Thank you,
to all of
Mr. President, for their vigilance in preventing the maltreatment of children in the state of Colorado. Today, we acknowledge April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves in the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families.
This
Senator
tribute is requested by all of us that you see standing before you and folks you can't see, given this first day of April 2024, State Capitol, Denver, Colorado, signed by our dear Senate President, Steve Fenberg.
Senator Fields.
Members, you may be seated. You have on your desk a pinwheel. You should all have one. It's symbolic, a pinwheel, because it shows winds moving, where we're getting families and children stuck out of serious situations. By the statistics that I have here, 11.8% of children younger than 18 years live in households below poverty level. And when you're living in a home where there's poverty, let's say you're a single mom, or let's say it's a two-household parent family, they're struggling to make ends meet. I've talked to many of the advocates this morning and the leaders that you see in the gallery and on the bench. They tell me that many of these parents aren't monsters. They're not evil. They're trying to live in an economy that sometimes requires them to work 2 and 3 jobs. And some of you might say that that's neglect or maltreatment, but these parents love their children and they're doing the best we can. So as lawmakers, my plea to all of us today is to understand that these parents need resources. These families need resources. They need to pay their rent. They need to provide child care assistance so they don't have to leave their child with someone else who may not be the best person, but they're so busy trying to provide for their kids that they might leave their child even in a daycare facilities. How many of you have seen abuse in a child care facility or a child home facility where you see abuse on a camera? These are working families trying to do the best that they can. And they can't sometimes afford adequate daycare or housing. The state of Colorado can do better by our kids by making sure that we provide every single resource we can to ensure every child has a bright future, a healthy start, and a pathway into adulthood. And just because you might come from a family that is privileged and you have all the resources you need, doesn't mean that we need to care for that kid who doesn't. As an adult, as policymakers, we have a responsibility to care for every single child in the state of Colorado. That is our future, that is our economy, that is our workforce. We can no longer see poor kids or children as invisible members of our society. And I'm proud of what the State Senate has done over the years to protect our children. We're on the right track. There's more we can do, and I ask for your support on this April 1st as we recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month. If you see something, say something, intervene, help a family, help a child. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to speak a moment to those organizations and advocacy groups that work on behalf of preventing child abuse. In particular, I want to give a shout out to a very special organization operating within my community. They also operate within the region, and that's the Ralston House Child Advocacy Center. Child advocacy centers across the state play a very important role in getting to the bottom of what happens to our children, of listening to their stories, of supporting the family members and the children in order to work through the abuse that they have undertaken. And then also to give them support so that they can move forward and heal. And the work that they do is very difficult work. It's very challenging hearing day in and day out about the abuse, the sexual assault and abuse that happens to children. But they are the entities that make sure that those people who are responsible get held accountable for their actions. And they're the entities that are always on the side of the children. And so I just want to give a quick shout out to those advocacy organizations who do the work day in and day out of supporting our children, and for their work in pushing policies in order to address the systemic issues with child abuse as well. So I also rise in support of this proclamation today, and thank you very much for your attention.
Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you. I just wanted to announce that the members of the Elite Leadership Academy with Colorado Farm Bureau are in the chamber this morning, so seeing what we do. So thank you.
The Senate will stand in a brief recess to greet all of our guests that are with us today. The Senate will come to order. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate take up Senate Bill 169, House Bill 1309, House Bill 1087, House Bill 1003, House Bill 180 on special orders consent calendar at the hour of 10:43. Is that all right? Make us wait a minute?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Majority Leader, where are your members?
They're your members, Mr. President.
They're not my members.
The whole chamber is, where's your members? We didn't let them back into the chamber. They're all standing right there laughing at us.
Mr. Majority Leader, you should probably do a call to the Senate.
Oh, we don't even have 5 people.
This is a dereliction of duty. The Senate will stand in recess. The Senate will come to order. Now that we have passed the long bill, third reading of bills. Final passage. This is like when you play hide and seek with your kids and then you forget and you start watching a TV show. Turns out they were hiding in the closet for like 2 hours.
Where's Faith? Thirds. That's me, right? That's me.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move HB 1039 on third reading and final passage, and I have an amendment. I apologize.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. We ask for permission to offer a third reading technical amendment.
Senators, is there an explanation for the need for the amendment? Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the technical error appears in sections 4 and 5 of the bill. For section 4, the bill amends 6C8 and adds 6C10. The bill's adding 10, but it needs to move the or at the end of 8 to the end of 9. So the bill strikes the or at the end of 8, but it doesn't amend 9 to add or at the end. The same thing happens in section 5.
The motion is permission to offer a third reading amendment. Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was just going to try to be a little funny and say it's really important where our oars are. Please let us put our oars in the right place.
Those oars are always getting lost. The request is for permission to offer a third reading amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it and permission is granted. Will the clerk please read the amendment that's on the desk, which is L21 to House Bill 1039?
L21, amend revised bill, page 5, line 2, strike quote, parens, 6 parens, C parens,
Senator
8,
Marchman.
unquote.
Thank you, Mr. President. We move L021.
Is there any discussion?
I think I covered it.
Senator Hendrickson.
Technical amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, for one, appreciate the orate oracle explanation of the sponsors on moving or between 8 and 9.
Is there any further discussion, I hope? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of L21 to House Bill 1039. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 2 excused, L21 is adopted. To the bill, Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move on third reading and final passage, House Bill 1039 as amended.
Is there any discussion? Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. To my constituents, this bill has the controversy of having the intention of saving lives when, as we heard in testimony from Dr. Rich Guggenheim, it would actually cost lives. This is not only goes about things in not a good, healthy way, but also it is an involvement by the schools into a very personal matter between students and their parents, and yet another reason for parents for you to consider not having your kids in public schools. I strongly urge a no vote.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1039. Are there any no votes? Senators Van Winkle, Will, Baisley, Rich, Minority Leader Lundin, Smallwood, Kirkmeyer, Liston, Pelton B, Pelton R, Simpson. With a vote of 22 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1039 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Kolker, Gonzalez, Janal, Zenzinger, Bridges, Hinrichsen, Cutter, Michelson Janae, Hawkes Lewis, Buckner. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate take up Senate Bill 169, House Bill 1309, House Bill 1087, House Bill 1003, and Senate Bill 180 on special orders, second reading of bills consent calendar at the hour of 10:51.
The motion is that the Senate take up Senate Bill 169 and House Bills 1309, 1087, 1003, and Senate Bill 180. On special orders, consent at the hour of 10:51 a.m. This does require a 2/3 vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate will now take up those bills mentioned and on the calendar that has been distributed to members on special orders consent at the hour of 10:51 a.m. Special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar, Senator Exum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself in Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the special order, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Exum will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the Coke rule is relaxed for everyone in the chamber. Will the clerk please read the title to all the bills on special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
Senate Bill 169 by Senator Exum, concerning Public Employees Retirement Association job classifications for state employees whose duties relate to wildfire mitigation. House Bill 1309 by Representative Taggart and Velasco and Senators Roberts and Rich, concerning protection for persons assisting in volunteer helicopter search and rescue operations. House Bill 1087 by Representatives McCormick and Armagost and Senators Kirkmeyer and Marchman, concerning the creation of an additional pathway for educators to gain an endorsement for special education instruction. House Bill 1003 by Representatives McLaughlin and Young and Senators Simpson and Michelson Janae, concerning measures related to harm reduction for students. Senate Bill 180 by Senators Fenberg and Smallwood and Representative Lindstedt and Winter T, concerning the repeal of the Colorado Digital Token Act.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move with the passage for all the bills on special order, second reading of bills consent calendar, which include Senate Bill 169, House Bill 1309, House Bill 1087, House Bill 1003, and the Education Committee report, Senate Bill 180.
Thank you. Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank all of the good work that has happened in regards to Senate Bill 180. And I'd like to explore the possibility of a conceptual amendment to amend the title of this bill to call it the Fenberg Oops Act. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator Fenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I consider this a friendly amendment because it would be really cool to have that recorded in statute. That's all.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the committee reports? The motion before the body is the adoption of all the committee reports on special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee reports are adopted. Is there any further discussion on the bills on the consent calendar? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the special orders consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The bills on the consent calendar are adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Thank you. The motion for the body is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Exum.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
April 1st, 2024. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bills 169 and 180 passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bills 1309, 1087, and 1003 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Exum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 2 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 169 and Senate Bill 180 passed on second reading and order engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1309, 1087, 1003 is amended, passed on second reading and order revised, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate take up House Bill 1011 and Senate Bill 170 on special order, second reading of bills at the hour of 10:57.
The motion is that the Senate take up House Bill 1011 and Senate Bill 170 On special orders at the hour of 10:57 a.m. This does require a two-thirds vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Senate will now take up House Bill 1011 and Senate Bill 170 on special orders at the hour of 10:58 a.m. Special orders, second reading of bills. Senator Exum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, special orders counter.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the special orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Exum will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1011?
House Bill 1011 by Representatives Brown and Amable and Senators Cutter and Marchman concerning mortgage servicers and in connection therewith requiring mortgage servicers to take certain actions regarding the disbursement of insurance proceeds to borrowers.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move HB 1011 and the Business, Labor, and Technology Report.
To the Business, Labor, and Technology Report. Senator Marchman.
Thank you. There was some concern around from CHFA that whilst most of 1011 appears to align with much of the current Fannie Mae requirements, if there's a different single-family investor, if Fannie Mae guidelines change and conflict, a mortgager such as CHFA could risk violating insurer guarantor requirements and not being in good standing to be able to provide additional affordable mortgages. We shared this in our BLT meeting, and this amendment was adopted. So,
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill. There is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read the title to Amendment L004?
Amendment L004, House Bill 1011 to be
Senator
amended as
Cutter.
follows. Amendment engrossed.
Thank you. I move Amendment L004 to House Bill 1011.
To the amendment.
This amendment, I want to say, we could have been on the consent calendar today, but this amendment is for DOI. It removes an existing section of the insurance law that is currently unenforceable and internally contradicts itself. So we, technical cleanup thing, and we ask for your support.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on Amendment L004? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L004 to House Bill 1011. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Okay, we're going to go back to the amendment. Further discussion.
are we going to talk about the amendment? Okay.
The committee would take a Senate 205. Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to withdraw L004.
Okay, Amendment L004 is withdrawn, and there is another amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read the title to Amendment L006?
L006,
Senator
amendment
Cutter.
in gross bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L006 to House Bill 1011.
To the amendment.
And basically, it's exactly the same. We had to have it redrafted as a second reading amendment. Sorry about the mix-up there, but it's the same thing. It's just in response to DOI removing an existing section of insurance law that is unenforceable and conflicts with this, this new piece of legislation. So I ask for your support.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on Amendment L006? Yes, Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I've had a chance to speak with the bill sponsors and go over L006, which replaces L004. We've spoken and heard from the Department of Insurance, and I can consider this a friendly amendment, even though it comes on April Fool's Day. So we're not being fooled, and I trust the sponsors that they are doing the right thing.
Thank you. Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you to the good senator from Colorado Springs. So, thank you, members. This bill comes directly from experiences in community after the Marshall Fire. And people were losing their homes and struggling to make sure they could get their insurance company to pay for what they had lost. And once they did settle with insurance companies, the money that was due was sent to their mortgage company because, of course, most people have mortgages and the company owned a part of their home. So they were really struggling to get the money that they needed to rebuild. There is a serious lack of, and this is not to say all mortgage servicers, but a number of them. There is a serious lack of clarity about what milestones or other steps they needed. Mortgage companies were holding on to insurance proceeds above and beyond what the borrower owed, and they were having a difficult time getting hold of people at the mortgage company, and these companies were even losing or deleting correspondence. So consequently, people were having trouble getting the funds released to actually pay for the building materials and move forward in rebuilding their homes.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. HB 1011 is rooted in best practices and guidance from Fannie Mae, one of the nation's largest providers of mortgage financing. Briefly, the bill is going to require mortgage companies
Senator
to...
Marchman, we need to adopt the amendment first, and then we'll get to the bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Are we still on the amendment?
Yes.
My bad.
No problem. Is there any further discussion on Amendment L006? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L006. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. Amendment L006 is adopted. Now we're to the bill. That's okay. Senator Marchman.
All the grace. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. This requires the development of a repair or rebuild plan according to which proceeds will be distributed. It guarantees a mortgage company can't hold on to more money than the borrower owes. It guarantees that at least a third of the proceeds are given to the borrower within 14 days so they can quickly get to work on their rebuild. It requires insurance proceeds are held in an interest-bearing account that will be good credit to the homeowner, and it requires the company provide a primary port of contact and retain communication for at least 4 years. This bill has been extensively stake-held with Marshall Fire victims, as well as with our mortgage lenders and bankers. We want to thank them for their partnership and working with us to make this bill better. So our community in the Marshall Fire area has been on a journey. And at every step, there have been barriers to overcome. And it's our goal that we learn from the Marshall Fire so that no other community has to go through this in the same way. This bill will streamline the rebuilding process for so many homeowners in the future and help them get back home sooner. We ask for an aye vote on HB 1011.
Thank you. Further discussion. Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, coming from Colorado Springs, back in 2010, or 2012 and 2013, we had a couple of very devastating fires down in in the Colorado Springs, El Paso County area. And while it wasn't in my district, they were, hundreds of homes were burned. And we certainly all remember the Marshall fires from a couple of years ago. And I think that the real intent of this bill, and I commend the sponsors for this, is that the affected people who have lost their homes and their belongings, they just want to be able to get some money from their mortgage company to ultimately kind of jumpstart and the rebuilding. I give credit to the mortgage service industry. Most of the players are good, honest players, and they want to do the right thing, and this just kind of gives them a friendly nudge to help those people that are affected when they've lost everything. And I think the intent of this bill is worthwhile. We didn't hear any, to my recollection, we didn't hear any opposition to this. So with that in mind, I would respectfully urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd also urge an aye vote on this bill. We heard this, I'm on the committee, BLT, that heard this bill in committee. And not only do we have the examples of the surges in insurance claims through the fires that we have unfortunately experienced over the past couple of years, but just in normal course of weather events that Colorado experiences with hailstorms and so on, when an insurance company issues a check for reimbursement for hail damage and other such things, it takes a very long time, an inappropriately long time in my opinion, to pass through the mortgage company to the homeowners and the folks that are performing the repairs. And so I believe this to be a necessary and an appropriate use of state government to, as the good senator from El Paso County said, to nudge things along. And so, yeah, I would urge an aye vote on House Bill 1011. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1011? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1011. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1011 is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 170?
Senate Bill 170 by Senators Zenzinger and Kirkmeyer and Representative McLaughlin concerning the America 250 Colorado 150 Commission.
Senator Zenzinger.
I move Senate Bill 170 on second reading and
State Affairs.
the State Affairs Committee report.
To the State Affairs and Military Affairs Committee report.
We made some small minor modifications, including an appropriations clause.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The State Veteran and Military Affairs report is adopted. To the bill. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, before we discuss the bill, we do have an amendment that we would like to offer first.
There is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read the title to Amendment L003?
L003, amendment printed bill,
Senator
page 2.
Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this is a very simple amendment. We heard during testimony on this bill that there was a desire to add another member to the commission. This would be a member who is an expert in disability history or is working for a disability rights organization. This was called out in the charging documents of the commission, and so therefore we ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on Amendment L003? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L003 to Senate Bill 170. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. To the bill. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Members, this bill is about our semi-quincentennial, our sesquicentennial, otherwise known as our sesquisemiquincentennial.
Very good.
I definitely cannot say that 10 times in a row. But what it all comes down to is we are broadening the America 250 Colorado 150 Commission so that we can get some more members on that commission so that we can have a really good celebration in 2026. What this bill does is it adds 2 more members representing the Native American community in Colorado. It adds a member who has military background or experience. And we are adding an at-large representative. And then with this amendment, we are adding our final member to the commission, which would be a person who would focus on disability rights. We have a very rich history here in Colorado, and we are very much looking forward to celebrating this history. And with those comments, I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I, too, ask for an aye vote. Members, this is actually pretty exciting for all of us. Colorado is turning 150 when America turns 250. And for those of us who have been involved in history and as members of the General Assembly, you know what History Colorado can do. They'll be opening up celebrations throughout the state. So if you have any groups that are involved in history or any groups that want to put together celebrations about Colorado, what makes Colorado and one of the most beautiful states in the nation, they should contact History Colorado and become part of this celebration just like we're doing. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 170? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 170. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 170 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Thank you. The motion before the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
Senate will come to order. Senator Exum.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
April 1st, 2024. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 170 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1011 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
The motion is Senator Exum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
The motion is adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 170 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1011 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that general order second reading of bills calendar lay over until Tuesday, April the 2nd.
The motion is laid over the balance of general order second reading of bills calendar Tuesday, April the 2nd, 2024. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the balance of general order second reading of bills will lay over until Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. Signing of bills.
March 28, 2024, the President has signed Senate Resolution 4.
Announcements. Before we have announcements, would the Senate choir please assemble to wish a happy birthday to members with interim birthdays during the month of August. That is Senator Baisley on August 2nd, Senator Liston on August 8th, Senator Bridges on August 9th, and Senator Janal on August 11th. Capitol Choir.
Me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday,
dear Senator
Janal Bridges.
Happy birthday to you.
May the dear Lord bless you, shower graces on you. May the dear Lord bless you, Baisley, Liston, Janal, and Bridges. May the dear Lord bless you.
Further announcements. Senator Gonzalez.
Good morning, Mr. President. Colleagues, the Senate Judiciary Committee will be meeting today at 1:30, and with this calendar, oh my gosh, this is fun. We will be meeting today at 1:30 in the Old Supreme Court. We will be hearing we will be hearing Senate Bill 189, Senate Bill 90 for action only, Senate Bill 182, and Senate Bill 187. See you all then.
Senator Mulliken.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, Senate Finance Committee will be meeting tomorrow afternoon. There are two bills that will be added to the calendar, Senate Bill 184 and Senate Bill 173, in addition to Senate Bill 139.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Transportation and Energy Committee is going to meet today at 1:30. In 352, we'll be hearing three bills, 1161, 1021, and 1341. I look forward to seeing you there.
Senator Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Education Committee will meet today at 1:30, room 357. We will hear House Bill 1154 and House Bill 1323. Thank you.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appropriations will be meeting Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. to hear some bills, like the budget.
Senator Pelton R.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow morning is Bible study again down in the basement, 109 at 7:15. Come hungry, both spiritually and physically.
Senator Will.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm inviting you to a breakfast, legislative breakfast tomorrow outside the old Supreme Court chambers for State Farm. Legislative breakfast. Stop by, get breakfast, visit with your State Farm agents and employees. That's at 7:45 to 9 tomorrow outside the old Supreme Court. Thank you.
Any further announcements? Senator Liston.
Go ahead.
Senator Buckner.
I would like to acknowledge that I made a mistake.
We all do. We all make mistakes. Senator Buckner.
April Fools. No. Education will not be meeting today at 1:30. Education will not be meeting today at 1:30. Thank you.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I would like to acknowledge or remind you, we had a great last Thursday or Wednesday, we had a great nuclear caucus meeting. And I want to commend all of the members from both sides of the aisle and the House who came. We really learned a lot. And in that vein, I have a very, very special announcement. I've been holding off on this. I just found this out yesterday. As a result of the tremendous interest in the nuclear caucus, there is an entity that has announced they are going to build here in Colorado a 500 megawatt nuclear power plant. Did you hear that? Well, they're actually going to build two. One in Denver and one in Colorado Springs, a 500 megawatt nuclear power plant. It's going to provide hundreds of jobs. This will be great for the state of Colorado. Imagine 2 500 megawatt nuclear power plants. So I think we ought to give a big ovation to these companies. Don't you agree? I see it's generated a lot of interest. So with that, April Fools, and we can all go about our business.
Excellent. Any further announcements? Members, if I could just have your attention briefly, members. So we have an opportunity to come down here every single day, and we have support from our family, but we also have support from folks who work here in this building. And while we appreciate all of our staff, especially our sergeants, we don't always get a chance to have their families join us on the floor. And so I just wanted to recognize and appreciate the family of Ted Abad, or as I like to call him, Abad, because he's a bad man. You can catch him dancing and pop locking on the streets outside of this post and standing right here in the back. We have here on the side of the wall his wife, Johnny, his daughter, Stephanie, and their grandchildren, AJ, Rico, and Soraya. Please join me in recognizing them on the floor. Any further announcements? Oh, and also I want to recognize that we have an amazing Secretary of the Senate, Cindy Markwell, who should be recognized every single day. And that is to get me out of trouble. Mr. Majority Leader, I find myself $1 for whatever I need to get back into Cindy's good graces. Mr. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate recess until 12 o'clock today. Colleagues, we just got to read some bills across the desk. You do not need to return, but you can if you'd like.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will recess until 12 o'clock today.